When I started working with Jay, I seriously doubted my business skills. But that's because I had a lot of mental health issues happening. But I remembered who I was and how successful I had been on my own in the past. And so Jay helped me fix my mental health to help me get back in the game and uplift my business. So today we're going to talk about mental health and entrepreneurship. And stay tuned to the end to find out what you do if your mental health gets worse while you're running your business. So recently, someone we know and love was offered a business, like full on, ready for you business. So he wanted to know, can he still be an entrepreneur if he doesn't have the skills to run a business?
That's a very good question. And you know I'm a fan of definitions.
Yes.
Before we go barreling forward with all the explanations.
Okay.
So let's just agree on what a business is.
Sure.
What is a business?
It's an exchange of goods for money or service. Goods or service.
Okay, so is my friend who sells jewelry for $5, even though it costs her $10 to make the jewelry, running a business?
Oh man, yeah, she's running a business, but it's like not good. It's not a good model. Okay, I understand what you're saying.
No, it's okay. So maybe that is a business because it's exchanging goods and services, but it's not a successful business.
Right.
Okay, so then what is a successful business?
So the exchange of goods and service, and then you make a for profit.
Okay, so it has to have profit.
Yes.
And what if it has profit for a month or a year, but in the second year it has no profit? Third year, less profit. Fourth year, less profit.
Then your profitable business is going out of business. It's less profit.
Right. And would we call it successful? Like, does a successful business have to grow over time?
Oh, yeah.
So if it's not growing, it's stagnating or plateauing or shrinking, we don't really call it a successful business.
Correct.
Okay. What if there's some scammer like Bernie Madoff or somebody who's selling profitably year after year and making money hand over fist? Now, eventually, maybe they get caught by the cops or something, right, and their business collapses. But would we call that a successful business?
No, because they scammed somebody to make money. They didn't really make profit. It looks like they made profit from the outside.
Well, they did.
Stole from people.
But they invested nothing.
They stole.
Okay, but their books would show profit.
For a while, they would.
Yeah, maybe forever if they don't get caught.
Right.
How many scammers don't get caught that we don't hear about?
Fair play. Okay, yeah. Or not everyone is moral.
Sure, but maybe that qualifies as a business, but it's an unethical business.
Okay.
But do we call an unethical business a successful business? You see what you see?
Still successful, but unethical. Yes. So they were successful because they brought money in, they grew, but did it unethical.
Right, but we don't want to teach unethical business. So for our definition, why don't we say a successful business is just persuasively offering value that you believe in to increasing amounts of strangers that they perceive profitable.
All right. Yeah. And by the way, I recognize that definition. And it's so sad that I didn't remember, because I remember putting the definition together with you in a cute little meme that we shared with our students when we had the den.
All right. So we have our definition of a successful business. What skills would you say are necessary and required to pull that off, to sustainably and persuasively sell profitably to strangers?
So back then when we made the definition, I would have had a different answer than I do today. So today I would say your mental health needs to be on point, or at least working towards healing it.
So wait, are you saying that someone with poor mental health can't pull off the steps of business?
No, they can, but they may suffer along the way, and their business and their relationships will suffer along the way as well.
But do we say mental health is a necessary skill?
Yes.
Or is it certain aspects of mental health?
No, it's a necessary skill.
Sure, but mental health is a big umbrella.
Yes.
So are we saying that maybe certain aspects of mental health, like you could be a worrier, but as long as you have focus and determination in your mental health, you can run a business?
Okay, fair play. There are certain skills within mental health that need to be handled.
Right.
If you are, what's the one where you can't leave your house? Agoraphobic, right? And you have to take meetings outside for your business, you're screwed, And so this may be a vital thing. So
yeah, but you could run an online business.
Well, that's what I meant.
But I get your example.
Yeah.
My point is, we don't want to just say mental health is necessary for a business. There's lots of people with poor mental health who are still pulling it off.
Sure. So there are specific skills within mental health that need to be taken care of, such as self-esteem and anxiety and depression, these things that need to be handled.
So maybe
people pleasing.
But does that mean I can't find any entrepreneurs who are succeeding with anxiety or depression?
No. So, but also levels of coping and
I'm with you, but let's put a pin in mental health skills.
Okay.
Because there's some that are important, but we don't know which ones yet.
Okay.
What about like practical action, physical skills?
So just mental health skills, then connection. You have to learn to be able to make friends. You have to know how to connect with people, need to know how to move the conversation along, right? So that's one. Again, part of one.
Yeah, so I would call that persuasive selling or relationship-based selling or persuading good relationships.
Yeah, it's good. Okay. Then marketing and sales, which are two different things.
Yeah, but it's very connected.
Oh yeah, they're connected. But some people say marketing and they leave out sales, and some say sales and leave out marketing. They go hand in hand for sure. So I always emphasize that they're two different things and they do work together. And yeah, I haven't gone past.
That's okay.
Depends on the business.
Sure. Would you say that knowing or understanding customers or your target audience is essential, or can you have a business where you just are clueless about them?
No, you need to know who your customer, your ideal customer is, because then you won't be able to do the marketing and the sales if you don't know who that is.
Yeah, and you'll have trouble persuasively offering value that they perceive profitably year after year because you don't know or understand them.
Right, correct.
So we could call that market research.
Yes, market research.
Like knowing your people, knowing your customers, knowing their desires and pains and pleasures and demands and what they're hungry for and what they're ready for next and what makes a good experience for that type of person and what makes a bad experience for that type of person. Okay. All right. And can you do any of that stuff? Marketing and sales and persuasive relationships if you don't have traffic and eyeballs and a stream of people coming in? Can you do it if you have like 2 friends?
No.
Can you do it if you have 2 strangers passing by?
No.
So what is absolutely essential?
You need clients or customers.
Well,
you need traffic.
Yes.
Traffic.
Yes, exactly. Traffic of some kind. You want to start your business in a giant open field with no one around for miles?
No.
Or you want to start your business on a busy street corner?
A busy street corner.
Sure. Yeah. So that sounded like a lot of skills, but maybe we could group them into 3 major skills. Market research, knowing your people. Traffic mastery.
Yes.
Right? You have to have the hang of traffic. And persuasive selling to people, right? You don't do that without relationships and connection.
True. Okay.
Even if it's a text-based relationship or connection, you have to resonate with your people and they have to relate to what you're offering, and whatever you say or type or write has to be persuasive enough to get them to open their wallet.
Right.
So market research, traffic mastery, persuasive selling / relationships.
Yes.
Okay. So those are the hard skills, the practical skills necessary for business.
Yes, with mental health in there too.
We're going to get to that. Okay. But do those apply to all businesses? Do all businesses need market research, traffic mastery, and persuasive selling? From a kid's lemonade stand to an online store to Amazon.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And what would you say are the 3 most important mental health skills, traits, or qualities that are essential for all businesses? Because some businesses run while you're depressed, or some run while you're anxious, or some run while you're worried. So it's got to be some other mental health skills that are key here. So let me ask, would you say focus is a universal mental health skill that must be applied in every single business?
Yeah. If you're not focused, then you have no target. You can't hit it.
Have you ever been not focused?
Yeah.
And what happened to your business?
It did not do well. It failed.
Have you ever thought you were focused, but actually not been focused?
Yes.
And what happened to your business?
It failed.
Okay. Have you ever seen a friend who is unfocused?
Yes.
And what happens to their business?
Oh, they all fail.
And have you ever seen a giant CEO in the media, in the public eye, lose focus?
Yes.
And what happens to their business?
Their business fails.
Right. So could we say that our first mental health skill to succeed in business is focus?
Yes.
Okay. Could we also call focus keeping your eye on the ball and some form of persistence?
Yes.
A lot of people on the net will say that persistence is the key to business. Don't give up. But if you're continually focused, it sort of implies persistence.
Yeah, and consistent too.
Yeah, focus implies consistency and persistence.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that would be the same, because I know other people would say, oh, you have to be persistent. Oh, you have to be consistent, but it's focus.
That's all part of focus.
It's all.
If you show me any focused person, I will show you someone who is consistent and persistent.
Yes.
And if you show me someone unfocused, I'll show you someone who lacks consistency and persistence.
Yes. Agreed.
Okay, so that's awesome. Now, what if someone is focused, but they don't believe in themselves or their product or what they're doing or their customers, or they don't believe in the market or the public? They just don't believe. Will that focus carry them? Or is it necessary to believe in various parts of your business?
No, you have to believe in all of the parts of your business, your customers, yourself, your product, your service, your abilities, your skills, your talents, your feelings, you have to believe in all of the things. Otherwise, you're focused on failing. Without belief, it won't work.
Right. So unlike anxiety and depression and worry, which some businesses do fine with, if they lack positive belief in various aspects of their business, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah. And just to be clear, when I say anxiety, that's part of this, what we're talking about, focus and belief. Because not everyone, there are people who can focus and believe in their things and still be anxious, but there are a good amount of people who the anxiety overtakes them and they can't focus and believe. So this is what I was thinking when I said it. So I just want to be clear.
Yeah, for sure. Some people, the anxiety will ruin their focus and belief.
Yes.
But that's sort of like a side thing.
Right.
You can still have focus and belief along with anxiety.
You can. Yeah.
Okay, so we have our two key mental health traits for succeeding at business: focus and positive belief.
Yes.
Right? Focus and belief. And so would you agree that every business faces obstacles?
Yes.
And challenges?
Yes.
Often quite different and occasionally unique to a certain business.
Yes.
So if we know challenges are going to come our way, and it happens to every business, what skill, what human quality overcomes challenges? When we see someone who's great at overcoming all kinds of challenges, we say, you are very
tenacious.
Yes, tenacity maybe, but it's not just tenacity. They somehow take what they have.
Oh, they make it positive.
And they do, but they somehow use whatever they have to overcome. You showed me that.
Oh, resourceful.
Yes, exactly. You showed me that meme of that African dude who was trying to work out and be a pro athlete or whatever, and he was training with buckets and soup cans and old rusted pieces of metal and stuff, just benching them and using elastic bands with jugs tied to them and stuff. Yeah. We would say he's very
resourceful.
Right.
Yeah.
And any business owner or store you look up to has a stage in their life where they were faced with a challenge and they took whatever they could find and resourcefully.
Yeah, they made it work. They made it happen. They overcame all the challenges because without being resourceful and figuring stuff out, man, you are screwed.
Yep.
Because there's always going to be something happening in your business.
And for people who are spoiled or entitled, this is a very, very difficult trait. They're not used to being resourceful. They're used to having all resources handed to them. So when I was a kid, we didn't have much and we had to be creative and we had to figure out a way to get what we wanted.
Right.
It taught me to be resourceful.
Right.
So then when I ended up homeless for years, you'd think, oh, homelessness for years would take anybody out. That's insane.
Of course.
But I ran my business while homeless.
You did.
But how?
And not only that, you didn't look homeless.
Yeah, I looked super dignified and carried myself well because I was resourceful.
Yes.
Because I was creative. Because I overcame that challenge with whatever I had or whatever I could find. And any time things seemed grim, I would always come up with something new. For example, I once had my life belongings, my life's work in a giant 70-pound backpack stolen from me. My laptop, everything. Awesome. I thought my business was done. I was like, could it get any worse? I was homeless and now I'm robbed of everything I own. My ID, everything. Like my clothes, my hygiene, my tools, my work, my shoes, my laptop, everything. But resourcefully, I started asking for help from the community. I went to an internet cafe and used some time there to reach out to other bloggers and people I'd established relationships with, because that's all I had left. Yeah. All I have left are friends.
So that brings us back to the connections that you had from before, well, the business connections to help you when you needed it.
But if I didn't have them, I would have done something else. Yeah. I would have been resourceful. Yeah. But that was the only resource I had. And so I had to ask them for help. And I had to tell my story and persuade them that it would come back to them and it would make them feel good and they would be really helping another fellow human out.
Right.
And by doing that, I ended up reestablishing my stuff.
Yeah. They all helped. That's so wonderful.
Yeah, it was super beautiful.
Yeah.
I was super touched. Yeah. But I also know that throughout my 3-year homelessness journey, I had to be resourceful time and time again. And for every business I've ever owned, I've had to be resourceful time and time again. So would you say that resourcefulness is the third key mental health trait to succeed at business?
Yes.
So could we now say that the 3 hands-on practical business skills that are necessary are market research, traffic mastery, and persuasive selling to relationships, and the 3 mental health skills necessary to have a successful business are focus, belief, and resourcefulness?
Yes. You know, what's funny is some people are going to say these last 3 are not mental health things. So it's interesting. I know, someone will.
Well, whatever. Where do they happen?
Yeah, of course, in your mind.
Does anyone else control your mind?
No.
Do we have the opportunity for 60,000 moments a day to direct our minds?
Yes.
Can you practice it?
Yes.
Can you meditate?
Yes.
Can you catch your thoughts? How is this not a mental health skill?
There you go.
If I choose to focus on the microphone, or I focus on my partner, or I focus on the audience or the camera, who's directing the focus?
You.
Right. If I want to focus for a prolonged period of time on a project, who decides that?
You.
If I'm crap at it or easily distracted, who can fix it?
You.
I'm saying. As for beliefs, anyone on the planet can believe anything they want at any time. I could go take you and go help you find a kid or a toddler, and they'll just randomly believe all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, true.
When you were a kid, you just believe whatever you want. Yeah. Now you stop as an adult, you get more limited in your beliefs. You don't really believe in things as much.
Mm-hmm.
But all this happens in your mind, and it's changeable at any time. There's no rules and there's no laws. You can literally believe anything you want.
Fair play, yeah.
It's why we all have imaginations. And even if they all operate differently or they have a different, unique experience, they all exist and they're all there and they're all stuff we can tweak. So how is belief not a mental health skill?
You're right.
Okay.
You're completely right.
Okay.
I agree with you.
And resourcefulness, a challenge comes our way. We have 2 options. 1, have a negative attitude, a negative mindset, act like it's the end of the world, act like we're limited, act like we're crippled, act like we can't handle this, whine, moan, complain, give up, whatever. Or we can have the opposite, a positive attitude, a positive mindset, and think to ourselves, you know what? I can solve this. With somehow, some way, I'll find the resources, or I'll create the resources, or I'll discover the resources, or I'll invent the resources. I will find my own way through this mountain, or around this mountain, or over this mountain, or under this mountain. I am resourceful. I'm a powerful, resourceful human, and this can't stop me. These are the options. How is that not a mental health thing? I'm saying. So anyone out there who thinks focus, belief, and resourcefulness aren't mental health skills, I don't know what to tell you, man. Good luck then.
Right. Well, I just wanted to touch on that a little bit since we're talking about it, because a lot of people assume. So like when you asked me, I went to like the normal mental health thing. They all involve the things we talked about.
Yeah, depression, anxiety,
right,
procrastination, perfectionism.
But I'm glad we're talking about it and breaking it down, because how many people say my mental health is fine, but they're not focused. They have no idea how to be resourceful, and they don't believe anything that they can do will help the world or be good.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people walking the planet have weak focus muscles, weak belief muscles, and weak resourcefulness muscles. Yeah. Period. And they all claim they're fine.
Yeah, so good. I love that we're talking about this. So thank you. And this would be very helpful for a young man that we know.
Yeah. So I know it took a little while to answer this question, but it's a really big, important core foundation.
Great.
This is the core foundation of business. These 3 practical skills and these 3 mental health skills. And I'm not going to get into it now, but I propose that those 6 things are 6 vital skills for success at anything, including as an athlete or a musician or in the corporate world or whatever.
I completely 100% agree. Yes.
People might not see how, but they are.
They are.
And so being an entrepreneur, just like being an athlete or a musician, requires those 6 things and is quite a journey. No one would think you can be a pro athlete, a successful athlete who makes a living off their sport without quite a journey.
Right.
No one thinks that you can be a super famous rock star without some kind of journey.
True.
It takes heart. It takes commitment.
Yes.
Right? It takes focus, belief, and resourcefulness.
Yes.
And so what does that mean about being an entrepreneur?
That means that you need these skills.
Yeah. And what are you signing up for? If you want to be an entrepreneur, I'm signing up for a long
Journey.
Exactly.
So there are a lot of people out there that think that
they think it's get rich quick.
Business is simple. It is simple. However,
it's not quick or easy.
It's not quick or easy. Thank you. And this young man that we know is smart enough to know, seeing our journeys, both of our stories, smart enough to know that, oh, if I say yes to this offer, I have a huge long journey that I have to go through, because look at what you guys have gone through, and you've had multiple businesses. I'm not sure. So it's very smart to realize this, instead of thinking, oh, I'm just going to start a business and I'll make tons of money and I'm done. Easy.
Yeah. A lot of people think it's get rich quick or overnight success,
right?
Or anyone can do it. And technically anyone can, but it's not for everyone. And it's always a bit of a journey.
Well, you told me once, just because you can wash dishes doesn't mean you should wash dishes all day long.
Or that you even want to.
I would want to, yeah. And so that has stuck with me for like anytime I'm like, oh, I could do XYZ. And I always think, yeah, but do I want to? Or should I? Like, is this something that I really have a burning desire for? No, then don't do it.
Yeah. And same thing for entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Know what you're signing up for. Know the 6 skills that are necessary. And there's going to be more you have to learn too. Every business is different, but those 6 are core. If you don't have one of those, it's a total write-off.
Those are the basics, the foundation.
And so you better learn them fast or have them already. And even with them, you're signing up for quite a journey.
Yeah, I used to think that everyone should do this, right? And now I'm of the thought, if you are okay and you're happy having a boss, if you're okay helping someone else build their dream and having a steady paycheck, if you're okay with getting up and going to work and doing that for someone else, for whatever money you make, if you're fine with that, do it. Do it. It's people like us who just can't. We just cannot do those things. And this is why we will do anything to be successful and be entrepreneurs, because it is who we are.
And the same goes for being an athlete or a rock star.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can be those things.
Yeah.
And technically anyone can, but it's not for everyone. And it's not a journey everyone's going to make or pull off correctly or well or satisfyingly.
Yeah.
So know what journeys are for you. Yeah. Everyone can choose what they want. Anyone is capable of these things. I've seen entrepreneurs with no limbs, dyslexic entrepreneurs, autistic entrepreneurs, young child entrepreneurs, bimbopreneurs. Like, I've seen it all. Yep. And it shows that anyone can do this.
Yes.
But it doesn't show that anyone is ready to do this.
That's true.
It doesn't show that anyone is willing to do this. So wrap up the question. Those are the skills. And even with them, you're signing up for a long journey. So know what you're getting into.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So in the past, I have had issues with depression and anxiety to the point where I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't get dressed or even eat. So can someone like this still run a business?
That's another good question. I'm going to ask one in return.
Shocking. Okay. And I love that you ask questions because it makes me think. That's how you operate. And I love that.
That is a mark of a good teacher. Make the student think. Anyways, my question is, are there people who had anxiety or depression? They pushed through it and started helping people in their day. And by doing that, by serving others, their anxiety and depression eventually lifted.
Yes, I think there are people out there like that. Yeah.
Okay, so we know that some people can have anxiety or depression and still run their business. In fact, their business might be the key to their salvation. Some people.
Yeah, there are some people who get life, feel energized by their business or by whatever it is that they love to do. And by doing that, it can lift those feelings. And I know it's not for everyone, but for a lot of people, yes.
Yeah, just a simple yes or no. Like, you got this. Like, yeah, we agree. Yes, so are there also people with anxiety or depression who get into business, struggle hard, have moments of crisis where they're like, I'm too depressed or too anxious to do this business. Mm-hmm. But by getting into business, it prompts them to deal with their mental health issues, and they start digging into their anxiety and their depression. They figure out how to feel better. They go to therapy or practice their meditations or do their things or whatever. And eventually they soothe that stuff and become a sustainable business person.
Yes.
Okay. And are there people who desperately want to run a business? It's really the thing they want most in the world. But because of their anxiety or depression, and because they have yet to fix it, they simply can't even take the first step. They're just crippled by depression and anxiety.
Yes.
So since we have these three kinds of people, what can we say about running a business with poor mental health?
It's doable.
It is doable.
It depends on the kind of person you are.
It does.
It depends on if you're willing to push past that stuff, the depression and the anxiety.
Or to fix it on the way.
Well, yeah. So you're either the kind of person who's willing to get up, move it, do it anyway, feel the feelings, do it anyway, and fix it as you go.
Yeah, we've seen people do that. It's a very masculine approach, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Just who cares, get shit done.
Yes.
Sure, that's one way. Or you're the type of person who, you said you're either the type of person who gets up and does it.
Yes.
Or you're...
Or you're the kind of person who is just going to give into your anxiety and depression and curl up in a ball and do nothing, lose everything, and just can't. Because if you can't even take a shower and you can't even feed yourself, then how can you push through that to run your business, to market, to be high energy? You can't.
Yeah. Some people can and some people can't.
Yeah. And that's not a judgment on those that can't, just so you know. I want to be fully honest and clear as always that I was one of those people who for many years could not get out of bed and could not push past my depression to lose weight or take care of myself or clean my house. So I totally understand.
Yeah. And this just comes back to belief, right? Mental health skill number 2, belief. Because that Henry Ford quote, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Yes.
Basically means you're jumping into one of those two groups.
Yes.
And then there's the middle group who can struggle with mental health and try, and they don't really get their business going until they fix their mental health on the way. It's like a middle ground.
Yeah, that's like a third way, I guess. And those people are awesome. I love somebody who can just do it and start healing. But usually I feel like those people seek out ways of healing as they go about it.
Well, weren't you that person? Yeah, I'll get into business. Oh crap, my mental health crap. I got to fix this. Let's put the business on hold forever until I get my mental health worked out.
Okay, fair play. I didn't consider that. I in my mind, I meant somebody who was actually like running their business and bringing profits in while working on their mental health versus
you did that.
Who brought in profit, put my stuff on hold, fixed my mental health, brought more profit in, put it on hold.
But that's what I'm talking about. That's the third way.
Okay, my bad.
Right? The other two ways are clear.
Yes.
You're either poor mental health and pushing forward, or you're poor mental health and giving up.
Right.
What's the third way? Start, stop, struggle.
Well, that's why it's taken so long. It's for this reason. Yeah.
Sure, I don't care. I just want to be clear about the three ways.
Okay.
And if you fell into the middle bucket, so be it.
Yes.
No wonder you love people like that.
Yes, I do. I feel like there may be a lot of people out there that don't believe that they can do the middle way, the way I did it, but maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. It's painful. But is it more painful than just giving up on your dream?
No, that hurts more than anything.
So what's the worst pain?
Not doing it. Yeah.
Take your pick.
Giving into the depression and anxiety is the most painful thing ever.
So does that answer your question about can I still run a business if I'm so depressed I don't even shower? Did it answer?
Oh, yes. Yeah, you did.
So what's the answer?
The answer is it really depends on you. We can't answer that for you. So,
but can people who are asking this figure out what bucket they're in? Can they figure out what type of person they are?
Yes. And
that's a whole other podcast.
That is a whole other podcast. But I also want to say whatever bucket you fall into, you can change that and switch to one of the other buckets like this.
Yep.
It's a decision.
Whether you can or you can't, you're right.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That was really good. Okay. So then I'm curious if somebody is working on their mental health, like me, when I was in the stop, start, would it have been more healthier or easier if I had just put the business on hold, gotten a job, worked on my mental health, and then quit the job and gone back to business?
Another fantastic question.
Yay.
Okay, let's use poker as an analogy. In poker, are there some players who do quite well going all in with nothing left in their stash?
Yeah, you do.
Right. Are there some people who do best when they're just making small raises, always holding on to their stash and raising gently until they can win the pot or get a little here or get a little there? They're never really risking their whole pot.
Yeah, they play safe. Yes.
Right. And are there people who do both, depending on the situation?
Yes.
Right. Would you say that each of these types of people have a different attitude towards risk and a different belief in their own resourcefulness?
Well, that's so good question. So yes, yeah, they have a belief about risk and about their own resourcefulness. Yes.
Right. So the ones who go all in very often are clearly happy to lose it all.
Yeah.
They're clearly believing in themselves to bounce back or make it up next time or something. And they're clearly believing that they're resourceful enough to make something work with nothing.
Yes. Yeah.
Someone who only raises little by little and never parts with much of their stash, never puts much on the line, has a different attitude towards risk and towards resourcefulness and bouncing back.
True. Yes.
Doesn't make them bad or wrong.
No.
They can still win.
Yes.
But they clearly have a different approach to risk and resourcefulness.
Yes.
And the third person sort of takes the best of both worlds. And they're not really inclined to put their stash all in all the time. And they're not really inclined to hold on to it and play safe.
Right.
They just read the situation and do what's appropriate.
They feel it out. Yeah.
Right. So can you see how this applies to an entrepreneur who would start their business on nothing, lose it all, be homeless, and still bounce back, versus an entrepreneur won't leave their current job until they're making more than their current job, and then they want a year's savings in the bank before they even think about letting go of the job to switch over to the business.
Yeah.
Right. And there are some people who keep sort of a safe backup plan or do their best to manage their assets, but if something in business requires a high risk or an all-in move, they're happy to step up.
Yeah.
Three types of people again, right?
Yeah.
Three types of risk, three types of resourcefulness.
Three types of belief.
Yeah. So what happens if you take someone who's like this, the safe player, and you take away their job and throw them into entrepreneurship, and now they have to sink or swim? That's how it is. What happens to that person?
Oh, their mental health is going to take over and they will have a really, really hard time.
Yeah. Their anxiety goes off the charts. Their depression goes off the charts. Their self-doubt. Their focus is gone.
Yeah.
They're distracted. They're worried.
Yeah. All of it gone.
Right. Because you took someone who prefers to do it this way, who has the mental health of this way, and the risk tolerance and the resourcefulness of this way, and you threw them into that way. Of course it goes wrong. Now, what if you take someone who believes in themselves, they have crazy risk tolerance, they're all in, they're passionate, they're ready to do whatever, they'll do what it takes, they wake up morning till night, whatever. They're like, I'll make it work. I got resources. I'm resourceful. And you take them and you throw them in a 9-to-5 job and you tell them, you're not allowed to start a business until you make X amount in this job and put away savings, and you have to put up with soul-sucking stuff that you hate doing, and you can't follow your passion until $100,000 or $1 million saved up.
No.
What happens to their mental health?
They can't do it. They'll freak out. Their mental health will go insane in a different way. They have focus and belief, but they will freak out over having to work for someone else.
Yeah, they'll get nervous going to work. They'll get the jitters. They'll start like vomiting or something.
Yes.
They'll have physical health issues. They'll be paralyzed. They'll start questioning their identity or their life or their soul or whatever. Like,
yes,
I don't know what it is, but the point is, you take someone from this risk level and this resourcefulness level, and you throw them into this path, the job path, the safe path, the only risk a little path, and their mental health goes bonkers.
Yes. Yeah.
And then the third person, same deal. They like to have some savings or some safety or a side job or a contract or a freelance or a part-time job or whatever until they feel safe enough to go all in and the situation calls for it, and then they're ready for that. But if you lock them into one or the other and they're not allowed to, like, they don't have the freedom to do either, their mental health will go crazy. Like, what do you mean I'm not free to go all in?
Yeah.
It's time to go all in. Or what do you mean I'm not free to get a job? It's time to get a job.
Yes.
Like,
that happened to me.
Sure. If you restrict those people, their mental health will go bonkers too.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So the question of, should I get a job until I'm comfortable to start my own business, or should I just start my own business and leave my job, or yada, yada, yada? There's no one answer. It's again, it depends on which bucket you fall in, which type of person you are, what your risk tolerance and resourcefulness happens to be. And I can't tell you.
Yeah, fair enough. None of them were wrong. Whatever feels the most comfortable to you, of course. For me, I already know the kind of person you are. You're the all in. I'm doing this. I'm done. I'm getting up. I'm crushing it.
Yeah, that's why I was homeless for 3 years.
I know. And
I ain't taking no job. I'm going to get out of this. I'm resourceful, damn it.
And I'm like half and half. I have.
Well, maybe you're one and you think you're the other. This is a common thing. This is why people have trouble in life. They don't know what type of person they are. They don't know what bucket they fall in. And they somehow get confused and think they're the other. My dad was like this, so I'm like this. Or mom wanted this. Or my friends convinced me to be this. Or whatever. Sure. And it's like, but really you're this. Like, I don't know.
Well, so I had $30 and decided to move to Toronto. You know, I manifested more, but
sure. But did you act like that in your business? So
no, that's why I said
moving.
That's why I said
your risk and resourcefulness for moving countries is like this. Is like this person.
Yes, that's why I said it's half and half.
But
kind of.
But what is your risk and resourcefulness in business, right?
Like, yeah, well, that's why I got a part-time job.
Sure.
And then
if that works for you, go ahead.
Right. And then when I was like, I can't do this. Like, this is not who I am. I hate this.
Maybe switch.
Go
all in.
Yeah. And I quit my job and went all in.
Great.
Because I just can't.
Sure. But then you tried being both ways.
I did. Now, go all in and eat ramen if I need to, and get up early, go to bed early. I don't care.
Those are always the most impressive stories.
Yeah.
This person never gets the impressive story. I played it super safe. I barely invested or risked anything. Mm-hmm. I kept building my nest egg until I had enough savings. When my side hustle grew big enough in profits to double my job, I left, and everything was safe, secure, copacetic, uneventful. It's fine. I'm not against it. It actually sounds kind of nice, but ain't no one hearing that.
No, I hear that story a lot, actually.
But that's boring. Like,
it is.
That's not being made into a movie. That's not turning into a book. No one even wants to learn from those people, even though they might be the smartest to learn from.
Yeah, I agree.
But who knows?
Yeah.
But these guys, the all-inners, they're the impressive spectacles. In poker or in business, everyone wants to watch those people. Right. Exciting AF, man. Last card on the river, all in. What's going to happen? I don't know. Like, these people are all the movies, all the Hollywood movies and stuff.
Yeah, and it's super exciting even for us when great things happen in our business, which they do every day, because we jumped without a safety net and we know that like everything's going to work out.
Yeah, it's a rush and it teaches you your own power and your own resourcefulness. Yeah. Again, there's nothing wrong with any of these buckets.
No.
But they have pros and cons and they result in different things.
Yes.
And the safer you play, the easier ride you have, but the less impressive, the less spectacle, the less attention getting, the less awe-inspiring.
Yeah. And the less, I would think, not challenge, I would think that the safe way, when you do finally get the big, juicy prize at the end, it's not as satisfying as some people like us who have given up everything and just dove head first, and we finally get that juicy thing we want, the prize. It's just so much more satisfying.
Why?
I mean, I don't know, but
I actually identify as this middle bucket. I know you think I'm this.
I do, yes.
But I never wanted to do that. I didn't want to be homeless. I didn't want to, and I didn't want to play risky. I hate playing near the edge.
I know.
I can do it when I need to, or when I have to, or when my partner's doing it.
Right.
But it's like, I never wanted that. I want to do everything safe and by the book. What are you talking about? So I'm kind of like this.
Right.
I'll use the savings and the backup plan, and I'll be wise and whatever, unless I have to. Like,
yeah, well, that's why we had an interesting journey. I think both of us have a little bit of that.
Yeah, but whenever you hear me talk, you'll hear me leaning towards this. But then when you see me act, you'll see me like do this, and it's like, why? Because
you're
the situation calls for it. Yeah,
not surprised. Well, when you talked about the person, the one who goes all in, the fearless one. This is you. All those things were you, right? But also all the things that you mentioned, like the savings and that's like you've talked about having a nest egg and having, a cushion and blah, 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 where there have been times when you said, no offense, there have been times where you said that to me and I'm like, F the cushion, because I knew that jumping without the net or the safety harness would work for us in that particular instance.
I know it'll work too, but I don't want to jump every 2 seconds. Like, this is how you live. Like, it's like, why are we jumping every 2 seconds? Just be smart, save up some money, stop spending on everything, eat ramen for a while, and then build your business. Yeah. Like, just be chill and live above your means.
Yeah, agreed.
The safe person, the safe dude is always above his means, always living above their means. And that's my nature. I don't like seeing anybody live below their means. And I don't encourage it in others, despite being homeless.
I think
I only did that because that's what the situation called for.
Right. Well, I also think the way that I was raised has a lot to do with that, because I always knew that if I jumped and I was going to fall and hit the ground, somebody would come along and scrape me up.
Well, that is not a good lesson to give a child.
So, I know. I'm not saying that's...
Ain't no one coming to save you.
No one is coming to save us. And no one is. And so I just had that conversation recently with my son. No one is coming to save you. And that's not, I guess that's not what I meant by, I don't mean by they were coming to save me, but they would help me. Right. And so, I don't know, like my whole life I've had that.
Right. But with entrepreneurs, people don't just randomly help you.
No.
People help you because you have provided value. You are valuable to them. You are worth their attention and worth their time. You are in the market. You are in the economy now. People don't just randomly hand out free everything left and right.
I had to learn that the hard way as an entrepreneur.
I know.
Yes. And so in entrepreneurship, one of the harsh lessons that I did have to learn was that not everyone is going to just help me and give me what I want. That's not how it works. And even if that was my life up until, a few years ago, that is not how it will. That's not how it is when you're an entrepreneur. No matter how great you are.
Your journey of spoiled, entitled, ball of depression to successful entrepreneur is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Because going from spoiled to entrepreneur is like the biggest 180 I could think of.
Yeah.
Going from expecting the world to serve you everything on a platter to expecting to serve everyone for nothing for like months and years and stuff.
Yeah. And so it's not a surprise that it's been a rough road for me because of this, like when you're given everything. And so I'm a weird kind of anomaly, I guess. I am a spoiled, rich, poor person. I mean, growing up, so with a single mom who worked 3 jobs, she gave me everything, but we were also broke at the same time. And so it's weird. I've had both experiences.
Well, that's even worse because now you end up spoiled and entitled, but with a lack mindset based on not having that much as a child. Like,
yeah.
And with your mom out working 3 jobs, leaving you home alone to figure it out, right? Like this is the worst spoiled, I think.
Poor thing. You got the worst. Got the worst of the worst, pobrecito.
I ain't nothing compared to homelessness.
I just mean like in a partner, like,
Yeah.
The universe said, dude, we are testing you so hard. Here you go.
That's cool. I see it like training in the mountains with the thin air. Like,
well, you've done a fantastic job. I got to say, you turned a spoiled brat who had a lack mindset and turned her completely around. And I'm way different. I am not spoiled anymore. I mean, sometimes that stuff pops up for me, but rarely. I don't expect anything. I'm more than happy to get my hands dirty and work for things and serve other people for free. Here we go. And just help the world. So you've done a fantastic job. So if you are out there and you are a spoiled brat like I used to be, or one and you need help to change them and turn them into a different person, you may want to send me an email and tell me your story and see how Jay can help you, because he's done a fantastic job with me. I've said it a million times. I wish so much I had a video of the person I was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 5 years ago, so that I can compare to the podcast now and you can see the difference, because it's a tremendous transformation.
Yeah, well, props to you for applying. You got to apply the stuff you learn, right? So good job.
Thank you. You are an amazing teacher. So I would feel super anxious and not believe in myself or my focus if I didn't tell everybody about our book, Eyes Wide Open, Volume 1. It's the world's first self-help coffee table book, and we are giving it away to you for free in a PDF form. Go to eyeswideopenfree.com and get your copy. And when you do that, you'll be joining our newsletter and you'll get to know all the great, wonderful things that are going on in our life. And you'll get lots of free resources and opportunities to work with us and learn about us and learn from us, because we are awesome and we love you. And that made my mental health feel so much better. Okay. So, Jay, we work with a lot of entrepreneurs and we know a lot of people. And I've got this question a couple times. So how would they know if their mental health is what's holding their business back or if it's something else?
Another great question.
Thanks.
You're on fire. Well, the basics of business are actually pretty simple. You or your brand meet a stranger. You touch point that stranger enough, nurture that lead, follow up, whatever.
Right.
They have enough touch points with your brand to feel comfortable, to know, like, and trust you, and feel comfortable enough to buy. Once they're ready, you persuasively offer them something that they perceive as valuable, that's compelling enough to get them to open their wallet.
Right.
Or send you cash or e-transfer, whatever. So meet, nurture, sell.
Okay.
And then you repeat it again for a second customer. Meet, nurture. This is what every business or brand does. They do it different ways. Some use ads, some use door-to-door sales, some use telemarketing, some use signs or coupons on the street, some use Google algorithms or online SEO or social media, but over and over, meet, nurture, sell.
Yes.
Meet, nurture, sell. And people have done this since the dawn of time, since caveman times. Since kids with lemonade stands do this, everyone does this. Every entrepreneur does this.
Right.
So that's pretty basic. So if someone is having trouble with those three things, it's going to make you wonder. It can either be a problem with these three steps, some of these skills,
Right.
or it can be a problem with their mindset that's preventing them from doing one of these skills
Yes.
or doing it effectively.
Right.
When you had your eBay business, were you not performing these three skills reasonably well?
Yes.
Somehow you or your brand met a stranger.
Yes.
You then nurtured them through some process and eventually sold and closed the sale
Yes.
and then repeated.
Right.
Did your eBay business succeed?
Yes.
Great. But when you met me and switched to Rise Gear or Rise Kink, suddenly this broke down. You were no longer meeting and nurturing and selling?
No, I was still doing that, just
I don't
poorly.
think you were.
I was just doing it poorly.
All right. Well, whatever. The point is, you weren't doing them effectively. Like
Right.
I said.
I wasn't doing them effectively.
Right. So why with one business are you doing them effectively and with the other business you aren't?
That's a good question. Oh, I mean,
Well, you used to tell me.
because I had all the things covered.
Yeah.
I had the safety net.
Right. But a trapeze artist doing trapeze things should technically be able to do the trapeze things with or without the safety net.
Of course.
But some people, especially who aren't trained trapeze artists, absolutely cannot function. They cannot do anything unless the safety net is there.
Okay, so I think a combination of the safety net, being spoiled, and poor mental health.
Okay. That's
Right.
more like it.
And because I had worked on getting my life clean, like I quit all the painkillers and stuff, I think that I didn't know how to heal that other stuff, the focus, the belief. I didn't even know it was a thing.
So what I'm getting from this is the first eBay business, you had a safety net and everyone gave you everything you want. You were kind of spoiled. And so because of that, your mental health was fine and you did the process of business fine.
Yeah, and I was one of those people who could power through with anxiety and depression anyway, because those things were covered.
Right. But when you move to a new situation and maybe your safety net was gone or people weren't handing you things anymore, then your mental health went off kilter and suddenly you struggled to perform these basic business tasks.
Yes.
Okay.
And also, I had a lot of mental health stuff about our relationship that I allowed to overcome the business aspects
Sure.
of it.
So on top of all that, you would say that your focus was on relationship success. Your focus was not on business success, and you didn't even see how they might be connected.
No. Yeah.
So can this information help us determine whether the basic steps of business are not being followed because of mental health or because of some issue with the steps themselves?
Yeah.
Okay, how? How can it help? You asked, how do I know if my business is failing because of my mental health or because of some normal business?
Right, something else, right. And so I think, well, if you look at your focus, so for me, I can't speak for anyone else, but for me, if I look back on what I was focused on, right? And so when you weren't with me, when you were at your place, because we live separately, when you were at your place, then I was focused on what's he doing? When's he coming back? Drag race. What can I binge and watch while I pretend to work?
Okay, I agree. Focus is a huge game changer for any business. We established that in the very first question. But what would you say is easier to diagnose? People's mental health issues or the physical action steps of business? The meeting people, the nurturing, and the selling?
The physical aspects of business.
Right. Okay. So if our business is failing or struggling, it's either because of the physical steps or the mental health behind it, right?
Right.
But one of these is easier to diagnose than the other.
Yes.
So if we want to find out which it is, which should we start diagnosing?
Oh, the physical steps towards business.
Right.
Right.
So if I'm your client or some struggling business owner and I don't know, is it my mental health or am I doing something wrong in business and I just don't know? And like, I'm so confused. Where should I start?
Out what you're doing in your daily for your business.
Right. Just start with the physical actions.
Right.
Ask yourself, am I meeting effectively? Am I meeting strangers effectively? Am I meeting enough of them? Am I meeting them and getting their attention properly? Am I meeting them and engaging them and moving them into leads? Like, am I meeting them cold and then warming them up, right? Is this meeting process going okay?
Yeah.
Physically, all businesses do this somehow. They meet somehow. Am I using paid ads? Should I try a different meeting way? But the first step is ask yourself, am I meeting effectively?
Yeah. And I would have said, no, because I'm laying in bed all day when you're not home or when you're not here. And I'm talking to like 10 people a day because I feel like I have to.
Sure. And a lot of people do this. It's fine. This is good stuff.
Right.
But the point is, once you ask yourself, am I doing this physical step effectively? You'll get a yes or no. Either you are or you aren't in your business.
Right.
So it's an easy diagnosis.
Yes.
And then you can ask why.
Yeah.
Is it because I don't know how? If I don't know how, I can Google it. I can learn a business skill. So if it's I don't know how, no problem.
And
it's not your mental health.
Right.
If it's I'm not even trying to learn how or lifting a finger and I'm busy watching Drag Race, it's probably your mental health.
Yeah.
And then the same thing. Repeat. Ask yourself, am I nurturing the people I meet effectively? Am I nurturing the people I meet effectively? Did they get 8 to 15 touch points? Are they being engaged and interested? Am I retargeting them? Am I touching them again? Am I finding them again? Am I interacting again until they are familiar with me and comfortable with me and they know, like, and trust me? Have I converted my cold stranger leads into fully nurtured prospects? Right? Have I or haven't I?
Right.
Am I doing this process in my business or not? Is my team doing it? Am I doing it as a solopreneur? Whatever the case, I better be doing this. And if the answer is, no, I'm not, then the next question is why? Why am I not doing this? If the answer is, I don't know, or I didn't know that was important, okay, get it there, learn it, fix this step, and go to town. It's a learnable skill.
Yeah.
Business is a learnable skill. People have been doing these steps for centuries. But if the answer is, I don't know, and I don't care to know, and I'm not going to bother learning, and I'm going to go sulk with a cup of coffee, maybe it's your mental health, right?
Yeah.
Same for the last step. Am I persuasively selling? Am I persuasively selling people in a product or service I believe in? Am I persuasively selling the nurtured prospects that were ready to buy, that are familiar with me and comfortable to buy? Did I take those cold leads and warm them up, nurture them until they're ready to buy? And then did I persuasively sell them? Did I make an actual offer? Hey, would you like to buy this? Would you like to taste test this? Would you like to sample this? Would you like to sign up for a demo? Would you like to do anything at all as an offer from me to you, right? And if you're not doing the process of persuasively selling effectively, then we have to ask, why not? And if the answer is, I don't know, fine, go learn how to persuasively sell. It's a totally doable thing. Go practice, get good at it, get your business going. If it's, I don't know, and I'm not going to bother to know, and I don't care, and I'm not learning, and I hate that stuff, and I don't like selling, and I'm whiny, and whatever, then maybe it's your mental health. You see how we can start with the physical diagnosis and easily get to the root of the mental diagnosis. Right. And if at any point in our journey you said, I'm having trouble nurturing leads, I would have been like, well, let's get to the bottom of that. So I've always known how to do this.
Yes. I just want to make a point too for the audience who's listening that Jay taught me all this stuff. Like, this is not.
Well, except when you were hiding, I couldn't.
Well, yeah, no, I meant like how to do outreach and how to get sales and how to make sales and how to like nurture them and all this stuff, right? You taught me this. But because my mental health was so poor, I was doing my best to hide that I didn't want to do it and that I was struggling to do it. And it wasn't that I didn't even know how. Like, so a lot of people would say, oh, I'm not doing it because I don't know how, or I'm not sure. I'm not.
Oh, and that's sometimes a lie. And you just don't want to do it.
I was just going to say that. And so sometimes I looked for excuses of why it wasn't happening. I would blame Instagram, or I would blame my network because I lived in a house with like 8 other people at the time.
This is a great point. And it just goes back to the diagnosis. Like, it's your business, it's your life. If you don't want to give an honest answer to the diagnosis and ask the right questions and answer them truthfully, then you're just like begging to stay stuck and begging to fail.
Yeah.
Because you don't go to the doctor and he says, what's wrong? And you're like, well, secretly it's my back, but I'm going to tell you it's my arm. Like, you don't hide the truth from your doctor.
Right.
And you shouldn't hide the truth from yourself when you're diagnosing your business issues.
True.
Right? Hiding the truth means you can't fix anything ever. So stay struggling forever.
Yeah. And so that was something that I had to learn the hard way too, was hiding it from you, hiding it from myself, not admitting it. This is never going to help. This is never going to make things better. I'm always forever going to struggle with this if I continue to hide and lie to myself. And
lie to your mentor.
Well, yeah, because if I can tell you the truth, if I was lying to me, you know?
Yep.
And it makes total sense. There's lots of people who hide things because this is how this feels like. If I hide it, then it's not a real thing. Or if I hide it, then like we won't get into an argument, or like, you know, I can't fail if I'm hiding.
No, if you hide it, it just gets infected.
Yes. Yeah. It's like you made the comparison on another episode recently. Like, if you have a cut on your leg and you like put on pants and you hide it, like, it's never going to heal and get better. And this is the same thing. Like, I spent so much time trying to hide and justify what I was doing because I couldn't admit to myself that I had mental health issues that were holding me back. Like, I've come so far and I learned so much and I've transformed so much. Surely I must be cured by now. Surely that I must have all that stuff sorted so that my business can be successful.
Nope.
Surely I was wrong. And I've also learned, and I feel like this is really important for people who are healing and improving their lives, that this will never end. I'm sorry to say, there's not going to be a day where you can say, I'm done and I'm perfect and I'm cured, because if that day comes, you're dead. That's it. The only way for perfection to happen is if you die and go back to source, right? And so this is something I had to come to terms with. Like, there will always be something for me to work on. There will always be something for me to improve and fix.
Yeah, that's life.
And if I did, for some weird reason, get to the end of that list, that very long list, then I just start over.
There'd be no point to life anyway.
Right. There wouldn't be. But at the time, I was convinced that someday I was going to reach the end and I was going to be able to enjoy my life in peace and harmony, and I'd be cured and everything would be great. And I'd be like in the Garden of Eden and everything would be wonderful. But that's a bunch of crap. And that is not true.
Yeah. And it's why I said in the beginning, you're in for a long journey.
Yes.
And you better know what you're signing up for.
Yes.
It's a life journey. It's an entrepreneur journey. It's an adventure journey, and you're never done. And it's life.
Yeah, it's forevermore. And actually, now I'm so glad that that's how it's going to be, because then I never have to sit and wait and wonder, is today the day? Is this the day? Is everything going to be perfect today? Is today the day? No, now I can be like, today is going to be a wonderful day. And I don't know about tomorrow. I'm just focused on today. And so this has brought me a tremendous amount of peace. So thank you, because you taught me that too. You've taught me so much. So one of the things that I struggled with when I was my whole life is being worried about rent and food and bills, right? That's why that safety net was important for me when I had my eBay business. So what if my anxiety about rent and food and bills gets worse while I'm running my business?
Yeah, that's a common situation. I'm glad you asked. And I'm going to address it. But first, I want to point out that when we understand the process of something, generally anxiety disappears. Pretty much like most of the time.
Yes.
When you understand the process of getting groceries and cooking food and serving it, do you get anxious about meal times?
No.
You know, like we get some groceries and we put them in some kind of heating thing or prep them somehow and serve them on a plate and we all eat. Next mealtime comes around, you do the same thing.
Yes.
If you understand the process of swimming, it's, get into the water somehow, dive or wade, and then start with one arm and then the next and kick your feet in a certain way and you will cross the body of water, or you can turn around and go back to shore or whatever.
Right.
You're generally not anxious about this. You know how swimming works. You know how cooking works. Unless someone somewhere randomly dropped you into the middle of the ocean and there was no shore in sight. And even then, you might just like, well, I know what to do, so I'm going to start swimming.
Sure.
Or treading or whatever.
Yeah, I would float if I couldn't paddle. Yeah.
See, this is a perfect example. You understand swimming better than I do, or are more familiar or more passionate about it. And so you instantly clear the anxiety with your understanding.
Yeah.
So whenever I encounter someone who's anxious about money, what do I kind of automatically know?
That they don't understand money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen me really be anxious about money?
Never. It's so
doesn't matter how dark or grim things get.
It's so inspiring. Yeah, we've had moments where things weren't sure how things were going to go, but man, I've never seen a more positive person in my life, especially at times where most people would fall apart.
So. Yeah. Well, do you think that living 3 years homeless helped me understand money?
Yes.
Do you think that getting myself out of homelessness helped me understand money?
Yes.
Do you think working side by side with a top entrepreneur like Evan Carmichael helped me understand money?
Yes.
So if we took any entrepreneur who truly understands money and value and perceived value and selling and just the economy in general, how cash flows,
right?
Would that entrepreneur ever be anxious about money?
No.
Yeah, almost never, maybe never.
Right.
Okay. So what is the best thing anyone could do if they want to get rid of money anxiety?
Learn about money.
Yes, understand it.
Well, understand money.
Exactly, on a deep level. Yes. Understand it like you understand cooking or swimming.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Understand it start to finish. And if you show me someone who's anxious about money and I coach them or mentor them or teach them or you do or they read an article or something and they gain a deep understanding of money start to finish, what's going to happen to their anxiety? Yeah. Is it possible for it to stay when they fully and completely understand money start to finish?
No.
Because they'll know, oh, I know where money comes from. I know what it does. I know how it works. I know how it flows. I know what it's for, why it exists. I know how to create it. I know how to spend it. I know how to flow it. I know how to invest it. I know money. I get it.
Yes.
And even if you took me down to nothing, I would just follow the process.
Yeah.
Right. The reason I took time to address all that is because There are many things in life that we have to do consistently, and they run on cycles. They go in and out, ebb and flow. And anytime they ebb, we have to apply ourselves somehow and manifest more of it, get more of it. So on average, people take 20,000 breaths each day. And what does pretty much every person do if someone tries to reduce their airflow?
They fight back.
Yeah, they apply themselves. They apply themselves and manifest more what?
Air.
Right. They are like, this is unacceptable. I am on this.
Yes.
And why are they capable of doing this? Because they understand how
air works.
Yes. They understand how their lungs work and how breathing works. They understand breathing.
Right.
And because they understand breathing or understand air, they're able to stop whatever is blocking them or reducing their airflow, fight for their right, and do what they can to bring more air back.
Right.
They don't randomly feel anxious about air because they always know there's more coming in. And if someone tries to F with it, they're still going to find air.
Yeah, true. Fair enough.
And there might be a tiny blip of anxiety while someone's reducing their airflow, but they're not anxious about air. They're anxious about someone interfering. And they're like, I'm going to solve this.
Right. Yeah.
Another example. Adults consume about 2,300 calories a day on average.
Right.
Different for everyone, but thereabouts.
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah. And we know that it ebbs and flows. Meals come and go. Food comes and goes. Some days will be more, some days will be less. No one's anxious about this. And if someone tries to reduce their food flow too long, make them starve, make them fast, something, what does every adult do?
Well, they freak out and then they fix it.
Yeah. I mean, they might not even freak out.
Yeah.
They might just be like, yo, I got to eat, dude. Like,
well, yeah, they don't. Okay, they're not going to freak out. But
I don't care how long your sports game's going. I gotta go.
I gotta eat. Yeah, fair enough.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
The only time they would freak out is if someone parachuted them into a desert and there was no food around.
Fair play, yeah.
But this never happens.
No.
So my point is, they know food exists. They know it's around. If they can't get it from one store, they'll get it from another. They'll borrow from a neighbor. They'll go pick berries, whatever. People, they generally don't get too anxious about their next meal. Like, even when I'm homeless, I'm like, I'll get a croissant for 33 cents or something, or I'll like dumpster dive or something.
Go to the food bank.
Right.
Whatever,
it's like, unless you drop me in a desert with nothing around for miles, I'm not going to be anxious. And even then, I bet I could find something from a cactus or kill a bug or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's like, because we know the process of feeding ourselves.
Right. Fair enough.
Because you understand it, complete start to finish, and you understand the environment and like where food comes from and what. Not too anxious. Doesn't exist.
Right.
Same for breathing. A third example. The average rent for a renter in the West is about $1,300 a month. Maybe it's higher now.
It's higher now, yeah.
Yeah, $1,900 a month?
Yeah.
Anyway, that is an ebb and flow. It happens every month. You pay it, then you don't have to worry about it. Then bam, it spikes again every month. Pay. Rent. Or mortgage. And technically, shouldn't this be just like the other two processes? Natural, regular, consistent processes that everyone does and everyone has done since the beginning. They've found their living expenses always. Shouldn't it be understood and natural and not anxiety inducing?
It should, yeah.
Shouldn't it be like breathing and eating?
Yes.
How is rent not like breathing and eating?
Well, if you don't have any money, then it's not.
But again, if you understood money, it wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
No entrepreneur who understands money is worried about rent. They're like, whatever, I'll get a job. I know where money comes from. I'll figure something out. I'll get investors on board. I'll hire somebody. I'll fire somebody. Layoffs are a thing. I'll do what I have to do. I will upsell people. I will provide more value to the customer. Any entrepreneur who understands money and the economy and how perceived value results in compensation is not anxious about rent. They treat it just like food and air. It's a normal, natural thing that everybody deals with. It's no problem.
Right.
If it ever gets low, I'll figure something out. No big deal.
Right.
Their anxiety is not there. Their mental health is solid on money and rent.
Right. Fair play.
Groceries and food, whatever. Expenses. Their mindset is fine on expenses. So you ask, what if your anxiety gets worse about rent when you start a business? And my question is, you tell me, what does that mean? If your anxiety gets worse because you started a business?
Well, that means that I don't understand money.
Right. And what do you need to do to fix it?
Learn about money.
Yeah.
Learn how to make money. Learn understanding money, learning how to focus and get it, and becoming resourceful and all those things.
Yeah. I wrote a mega guide on that, like a giant ultimate mega guide of understanding money.
You did. And somebody once told me, because of that article, I have the testimonial. They said it was the best advice they had ever got in their entire life or ever read, ever.
Okay, that's pretty high praise.
It was high praise. That's why I kept it.
I think it's jrise.me/cash, but it could be something else.
No, I think cash is the modeling one. We have so
cash.
many articles on money.
Yeah.
Like, they're so good. But we will link this mega guide that we're talking about in the description. So take a look at it because it is next level.
Thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Anyway, I hope it answers your question. What it means if your anxiety gets worse and what to do about it.
There you go. Well, yeah.
And if you're in a super big hurry, then you can always just get a job. Like, getting a job is one of the fastest things you can do. Volunteer for somebody, take lower wages, work as a fast food person, bam, you'll get money coming in instantly.
Yeah. And if, I was going to say the same thing. Like, if your anxiety is like so much over the money thing and like you're not sure where it's coming from next and you're really scared or whatever, and you're learning about money, then to ease the mental health stuff, it might help to get a side gig, deliver some groceries or whatever. I don't know.
It depends on what bucket you're in, right?
Right. It really does.
This dude is never driving Uber. They're all in. They're the all-in poker player, high risk.
Yes.
This dude has no problem getting a job.
Yeah.
Probably would already have a job.
Probably.
Already be an Uber driver.
Right.
Or something better.
Right.
This dude is likely to see rent getting low, know how money works, make either decision, like either I'm going to go all in and risk it, or I'm going to get an Uber job quick and deal with the rent so my mind's at ease. But they're usually...
That third guy is going to go and do some consulting and get a client or two.
Yeah, they'll figure something out.
And he ain't getting a job, but he's bringing money in for sure.
Yeah, but he understands money, and he understands all in, and he understands playing safe, and he uses the correct one at the appropriate time. So it really depends on what kind of person you are.
Yes.
And what your risk tolerance is.
Right.
And how your resourcefulness is, whether or not you get a job when rent is due or not.
Right.
Right.
Right. Well, I think, like you said, it depends on the type of person you are and how like anxious you are over it. And please, for the love of God, if you are anxious about it and you do get a job and you still have your business, learn about money. So that anxiety can go away, whether you have a job or not, whether you have a business or not.
Everyone should just learn about money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why I wrote the guide.
Yes.
Because no one teaches it. Not Ramit Sethi, not Gary Vee. None of these people teach money correctly.
Agreed. I've learned from them and I've learned from you. And the things you've taught me have served me well. And I am all in on my business, not working a side job anymore. So there you go. Well, thank you so much. You are incredible. You are super helpful. You helped me understand all of this. You helped me understand the 6 things that you need for business. This is the foundation of business. And you've helped me understand money and myself and helped me change from being a spoiled brat to a loving and kind, helpful person that lives to serve others. So thank you.
Thank you. Great student.
Okay. So I have one last question. Do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share with our amazing and wonderful audience?
Yes. Technically, anyone can be an entrepreneur, but that journey, the entrepreneurial journey, is not for everyone. If you want to work a job and help someone else build their business, that's totally fine. But it's worth taking the time to know yourself, know your risk tolerance, know your resourcefulness, know what kind of person you are, know if the entrepreneur journey is for you, because falling into the wrong path or bucket feels pretty bad. And if you do want to experiment and you don't know exactly what's for you, do your best to make the experiments fast and be honest about what's for you and what's not. If you want somewhere to start, I would take a look at myself and see if I have the basic physical skills of business, market research, traffic mastery, and persuasive selling. I would also ask myself if I have the mental health pillars for a successful business: focus, belief, and resourcefulness. If you have all of those things, that is a fantastic sign. You are very likely going to be okay on your entrepreneurial journey. You're very likely going to be able to learn anything that's missing or needed, face challenges that are unique to you and your business, or to find advisors when you need them. If you're missing one of those 6 things, you can still learn them, practice them, and embody them, but you're definitely in for a much rougher ride. And some people never learn them, in which case entrepreneurship would not be for you. So the real question is, what type of person are you going to be?
And that's why our book and this podcast are called Eyes Wide Open. After today, you'll know if entrepreneurship is for you. So now you can go and watch this video here called How to Be Happy in a Poopy World to help you boost your mental health when everything has gone to crap and to help you keep your eyes wide open.
Keep rising.